Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is Antigonus Gaming with Metaphor Refantazio. We are in the Gauntlet Runner. In the last video, we entered the tournament for the throne. We met Bardon. We saw some of the other candidates. Luis is using proxy candidates in the tournament because he thinks it's all a sham set up by Bardon. Bardon has himself and his right-hand man are both two of the top 3 candidates other than Luis in the tournament. There's a number of other candidates that are jokes. We'll encounter them as we go along the way. They all kind of represent different types of political candidates, ranging from obvious personifications of certain political philosophies to like meme-type characters to tropes from politics. In Japan or otherwise. Right now we're in the Gauntlet Runner. So in the round table room, it has like a red carpet. There's a table with 8 chairs around it. So, 8 chairs, I wonder what that means. The windows are circular windows like outside of a ship. Nueras is up these steps in the cockpit, but we can't actually go up there, but we can talk to him with the intercom. Apparently Nueras can speak for us from the cockpit, but he's not going to talk to us right now. Stroll's looking out one of the windows. We'll talk to him. Carriage can't begin to compete with the Gauntlet Runner's speed. I suppose they've really earned their reputation. That I'm in constant fear of losing my lunch is far from ideal, but once I'm used to it, I'll be sure the journey will be pleasant. Hulkenberg sitting down. The runner makes a smooth ride, at least. Eccentricities aside, he's certainly earned his title as a court engineer. That said, I'm more concerned with its unseen workings. I do hope he hasn't made any dubious additions. So we can go up this ladder here on the left side to the watchtower. And the watchtower is at the top. We see like the gauntlet, the back of the Gauntlet Runner where the legs are. Because yeah, it's like actually a walking ship. And we can see that we're in the Tradian Desert, so we see the desert all around us, but we're far enough away from the capital we can't see it anymore. We head back down. There is a toilet where we can go to the bathroom. There's a washroom where we can take a shower. Wow, this room's made for bathing. Can we really just hop in mid-ride and take a real bath? Now that I could get used to. I call first tips as Stroll. What, were you just going to stride up and strip nude? Where do you think you are? Unacceptable. It's behind a door, by the way. It's bathing time. Oh, ought to mention, no running water yet. Working on it. Ah, unacceptable, Stroll says. We've got a pantry that has, like, food items in it. We have a kitchen, but we haven't yet gained the ability to cook without wasting time, so we're not going to do that. We have, like, a break room. It has a table, a bookshelf, another table that's... We got some benches in front of it. There's another, like, bookshelf that... And then there's like a kind of like a shelf, armoire, kind of dresser kind of looking thing. We've got 5 pods for sleeping in. They're all just basically little narrow pods with beds, so kind of reminiscent of like a Japanese capsule hotel. There's a back door to the back deck. The back deck has a cloth-covered barrel. Beneath this cloth, there seems to be a big barrel. I wonder what it's used for. And we can see out the back as well. We see the tail of the Gauntlet Runner. It's got our little green flag on the back of it. One of the symbols of our campaign for the kingship. And then we're going to get inside the Gauntlet Runner. And we're actually going to go downstairs to the lower level. Because we're going down to the engine room. We see Moore's ghost hanging about. We have a washing machine, which we can do. That's one of the activities we can do. If we head towards Moore, we turn right. There's, like, this is like Nueras' workshop, so we've got all of his desk with all of his notes and stuff on it. And then on the other side, there's a couple of, like, cotton bean bags and a table like a bunch of wooden boards stacked like pallets stacked on top of each other with like a cloth on them, so it's like a table. And then we've got some other like bags of powder and other materials, presumably, that help the Gauntlet Runner run. Then we head into the engine room. We're on the upper... we walk in like on a platform. We have to step down. Wonder what makes this thing on. It's literally like a heart. It's pumping in, and it's got a tube that's pumping in blue magma, and it's pumping it out. It looks red. So it's like it's adding oxygen to it, so it's just like a human heart, almost.
Hello?
First time on a Gauntlet Runner, eh? So this is Nueras calling to us over the intercom, right? We see the intercom in front of us. Whoa, that scared me. Looks like that pipe's in here, too. Call the runner phone. There's one in every room.
Spectacular.
So now Nueras has like his super confident look where his glasses are like fogged over. You can't see his eyes behind them, and he's got his hand up on his forehead, you know, like the thinking pose. Now, I believe I've heard you speculating on the old girl's inner workings. Gauntlet runners use magma crystals as fuel to run, you see. Used to be you'd take your life in your hands when you traveled in the wilds. Then, thanks to the kingdom's greatest minds, the Gauntlet Runner was born. The runner's actual legs are based on a colossal beast, made for zero momentum loss, even on the roughest terrain. Among other things, I've modified this craft with a bit more zip and speed, another step closer to my dream. What dream? Long story, my girl, but best told to a captive audience with no plans for the next few days and nights. Ugh, never mind then, maybe some other time. Anyway, still plenty about that old girl's work in progress. By the time I'm done, she'll have new tricks, you just watch. It'll be sunset before long, so start thinking about bedding down for the night. Can't run in the dark, the old girl needs her rest as much as we do. You will continue towards your destination while spending time on the Gauntlet Runner. Utilize its facilities to obtain items, raise abilities, or do other things you wouldn't be able to do in town. Try using the kitchen, reading books at the bookshelf, or using the washing machine. More activities will become available over time. You can also spend time with your allies while traveling, which may help improve your virtues. At the end of the day, the choice is yours. So some of the bond events actually occur on the runner. So we walk down into the engine. We see the magma crystal heart pumping the fluid out. It's like anchored into like a mechanical device. There's like a big semicircular control panel that's like a quarter of a, you know, it's like a round quarter of the semicircle, and it's got like a bunch of like dials on it. It says it's a large igniter. We see lots of like pipes and tubes on the walls. Behind us we see a weird looking igniter where it's like a bunch of bronze circular devices that are all pointing towards like an empty space in the middle, and they've got like kind of like drill looking things. So it says, I've never seen an igniter like this one before, but it doesn't, we don't know what it does. So we're gonna head on out, and we're going to head up. So we've got Hulkenberg down the hallway. Nueras said he got the kitchen back up and running. If you're hungry, would you fancy a meal? I hardly consider myself a chef of any great skill, but Stroll said he wanted to try some of the recipes he learned at the Hush Honey. Stroll's now sitting at the table with his head down. Ugh, I feel drunk. I say, are you okay?
Sorry.
I'll survive. I can handle the sway of the carriage, but it's another beast. It seems I'll need to learn to endure it. So, and now we can read on the bookshelf. That's what we want to do. The bookshelf is lined with interesting books. The books I can read are the New World Travel Diary or Pride and Persuasion. This appears to be a fictional chronicle of a boy's journey in a fanciful place called the New World. I haven't started reading it yet. Seems like a book that'll really expand the mind. Want to read it together over by the window? If I read this book, I'll gain more imagination. Shall we spend some time reading the book? Say not now. Let me check the other one as well. Bookshelves lined with interesting books. The books I can read are Pride and Persuasion. This book outlines useful conversational techniques for convincing others. I haven't started it yet. Nueras probably left this in here, huh? Let's take it over to the window if you want to read it together. If I read it in books, I may gain more eloquence. I'm going to do this one because I believe the eloquence is harder to get. So I'll read this book. So then we get our little clock thing, and now, so the protag's sitting in one of the windows and he's reading. Apparently this book teaches you ways to ensure others will agree. This is Gallica talking to us. The sections This section's part of the basics. First impressions are vital when it comes to negotiations. Okay, I guess that's true enough. Lower the other person's guard by assuming a natural and humble demeanor. Then use flattery to probe for weak points. And this is actually a really, really good point. I know people in the business world who have told me that, like, when they've interviewed people or when they've talked to their bosses about interviewing people, some people will make decisions on whether they're going to hire somebody or not, or at least consider them for their pool of candidates within like 5 seconds, which sounds insane, but some people, that's just the way they are, and there's a lot more of those people out there than the types of people that actually are going to like listen to you for 30 minutes and make slow deliberation. So lower the other person's guard by assuming a natural smile and humble demeanor. Then use flattery to probe for
What
weak
are you
points.
talking about?
Probe for weak points. Why? So I could say to strike them down with one hit, to gain the upper hand, to exploit them without mercy. I'll say to gain the upper hand.
Sure.
So that you can gain the upper hand.
No
perhaps.
kidding.
Oh, I see. It feels a bit underhanded, but I guess if you need things to go your way, that's how it has to be. I feel like paying close attention to the art of persuasion has increased my eloquence.
All right.
And I got 4 points of eloquence. I'm surprised. I guess a bit of force can go a long way in helping negotiations go smoothly. There's still more left to read in this book. I'll pick up from here next time.
The Gauntlet runner arrives at the desert camp
now we're
as the scorching
heading to the
sun
first
sinks
campsite.
below the horizon, and the curtain of night falls over the land. Protected within the stalwart hull of the Gauntlet runner, the party gains a short, peaceful respite.
Now we're at the campsite. The desert camp. So the Gauntlet runner stops for the night. We're out on the front deck, which we didn't go to during the day. At night, the vast wilderness outside town is ensconced in darkness. Forcing your way through the unmarked terrain is very dangerous, even with a stalwart Gauntlet runner. Instead, establish camps somewhere safe. You can resume your travels the next morning. While at an encampment, you can use any of your facilities on the Gauntlet runner like usual, but you can also reminisce about the journey with your allies. Give it a try. 3 days until we reach Martira. Our first camping trip in the Gauntlet runner, Gallica says. I'm kind of excited, but it'll be a long night, so why not spend some time relaxing with someone? So I can talk to Stroll. It's like he's giving me imagination. Let's talk to Nueras first, because he's not going to cost us any time.
Your thoughts?
Oh, how was that ride, eh? Smooth as butter, luxurious as a palace, awe-inspiring, tear-jerking, and I'll say absolutely. This runner is such a guilty pleasure. Though credit where it's due, my tinkering certainly helped make her what she is. Though full disclosure, that's all thanks to a little mechanism I whipped together that keeps her legs from sinking into the dunes. Wouldn't have to worry about the terrain as she could just fly, but that's a story for another day. Off you go, better get your 40 wings. Let's see if Hulkenberg's around too. I want to see what she's offering. If she's going to offer to increase some stats, I want to see what she's offering. So we've got the books as well, but so it looks like they're both offering the same thing.
Well met.
I don't suppose you're so overburdened with free time as I am. It's certainly no stranger to traveling, but I've no idea how to spend idle hours. If that idea appeals, we might talk of it. By recalling my past and planning for the future with Hulkenberg, maybe I can hone my imagination. Can I spend time with Hulkenberg? I'll say talk with him. The power we've awoken to. I've all sorts of questions, but what I find really curious are the forms we take on. Each has their own unique aspects, but one bit they all have in common is their armor-like appearance. What do you make of that? I'll say it's cool, it's bizarre, I'll say it's cool.
Certainly.
I think it looks cool.
I see.
I do find the austerity of the design intriguing, but I was not speaking of how they look per se. So they're sitting at the table and they're drinking some kind of drink. We don't know what it is. In my opinion, the armor encloses a raging forces within us, allowing us to direct that power, as one directs a horse by its reins. It's said that people lose their magic because they refuse to confront their fears and anxieties, forever unaware of that power lurking within them. Is that not the very condition that to awaken our slumbering power? Also, hence why it is so exhausting and why it cannot be maintained for long. The ravenous appetite I had afterwards is proof we do well to practice diligent in maintaining our food reserves. Hulkenberg and I talked about things to come. I feel like my imagination.
All right.
I got 4 more points for that as well. It's getting late. It's getting quite late, but we've got a ways to go yet, so I would very much like to continue chatting with you. Oh, and then they just continue talking, and I'll say Hulkenberg and I talked for a while. I get 450
Time
maglos
marches
from it.
on, and the age of a new king draws nearer.
June 25th, Idols Day.
Good morning.
Now we're in the meeting room. We got all our characters together. Top of the morning to you, my dear passengers. I trust that the sleeping quarters more than exceeded your expectations, eh?
True.
They were better than I'd feared, considering how tiny they are, but I've got a question about it. Isn't the desert sand going to do a number on this runner? My boy, remember who maintains this rugged girl. Nary a grain of sand could fit between her seams, I assure you. Regardless, we'll be leaving these arid dunes behind tomorrow.
I knew it!
Wow, runners are really neat, aren't they? A carriage would never be able to get through the desert this fast, but just keep an eye on the road, okay, Nueras? That's Gallica there. Hear her starting off, but then we have to fill in the rest. But now, we'll arrive in Martira in 2 days, huh? So we've got our two characters can actually do stuff now. So, I'm gonna hang out with Stroll this time, because I hung out with Hulkenberg last night. Hey, Will, good timing. I was about to do some maintenance on my weapons. If you've got time, why not join me? It's a refresher for the mind as it is for our battle. Maintaining my weapons may help me improve my focus during a fight on my courage. You want to hone your weapons to Stroll? I'll say
Now then.
Right, let's have a look at your blade then.
Got a
So they're
moment?
out on the balcony now. We see the desert in the background. You think I'm getting ahead of myself here, but after things settle down, I'd like to live without the sword. I admire the idea of a world where monsters and senseless violence don't exist, where nothing is taken from you by others. That's why, one day, I want to restore my ruined hometown to its former glory, and not just mine, all the ruined hometowns.
Hey,
How about you? I shared my plan. Let's hear yours. What'll you do when this fight's over? I'll say, I would like to help you. I'd like to help you rebuild it. Ah, are you serious? I'm a bit relieved to hear it, to tell you the truth.
aye.
I've got to get stronger. Even if the village gets rebuilt, it's all for naught if it's attacked by monsters again. I want to be strong enough to rid this country of monsters, not leave it to a spineless army and its incompetent generals. They only have the power to kill those who oppose them. They have no desire to protect their people, just like Louise, and I'll say we'll fight for change.
Look at that.
I want to do something about that, too.
Yeah.
I agree, but seeing the state of our country's army, I'm all the more glad you're our captain, truly. You've resolved to stand on the front line of our fight, so it's only right that you lead. Ha! Our fight, I say. I've forced my way into your mission.
Hey,
I envy you sometimes, to act with such conviction. How does one become so bold? I'm going to say, so he says, I do what I must, I waver sometimes, or I just do whatever. I'm going to say I do what I must.
Yeah.
I'm only doing what needs to be done, one step at a
Right.
time. Easier said than done. I get so fixated on the past. I lose sight of the present sometimes. You always look forward. That's what I envy about you. All this is to say I have faith in you. We've more battles ahead, and I'll be counting on you to get us through them. In the end, the king will be determined by what the people think of his justice. They're free to make their choice, but so is the one being chosen. I wonder who it'll end up being
All
after all this. Anyway, that sword's shining like new. Let's finish this up. Caring for my weapon has fortified my will to fight as well as increased my courage.
Now then.
My courage just leveled up.
Courage.
It is one of the virtues of art a ruler must possess. If thou aspire to true sovereignty, kindle the flame of thy courage to ignite the hearts of thy people.
Why, that's...
Conqueror needs that precious kindling which a follower of passions may be inflamed. So one interesting thing about this is that the little horns on the crown grow taller and taller towards the main numbers, but there's dots there that showing you how close you are to leveling up one trait or another. I actually didn't notice that until I saw someone on Reddit pointed out, but that's actually a nice visual cue, but one that would only help you if you can see well enough to see the, see it.
I say, we could
Ahoy,
stop for a
break time, chums. There's something up ahead, so we'll be stopping there.
Coming now into view is the Tree of Prophecy, a resplendent tapestry of color against the backdrop of the bleak desert. One theory is that the tree's roots gorge on the land's magma, and still another is that it gorges on those enraptured by its colorful foliage, as though themselves snared by the bewitching magma surrounding the tree. The Gauntlet Runner comes to a stop at its base.
So periodically on our journeys, we'll stop at these tourist sites, and essentially we just stop, we look at them, we get a picture, and so here we are at the first one, which is this Tree of Prophecy. So Gallica says, here we are, so we get a closer look. So it's a huge red tree with red leaves growing out of the desert. Wow. It's so pretty.
That's...
Gallica. It's not just the leaves, it's as though the whole area has been painted red. And there's like the sand, the wind around it looks red, so there's like a red mist around it too. And the wood is also like a dark redwood kind of color. It's not just the leaves, it's though the whole area has been painted red.
Certainly.
This place calls to mind a picture book I read as a child. It told of a great tree located somewhere within the country, whose colors shifted to foretell unusual events in the times ahead, it says. Stroll, how exactly would a tree foretell the future, and how does a plant grow this huge in the middle of the desert? I'm not sure if this explains it, but I am sensing an incredible amount of magma in the air. If your hypothesis is correct, that would make this no mere tree, no sir, but a magical organism that feeds off magma. As a matter of scientific research, I must document this discovery. Nueras has his, fogged glasses, confident face there when he says that. Nueras pulled out a sheet of paper and a brush from his pocket and began to draw the landscape in front of him. Wow, Nueras, how did you get so good at drawing? Ah, my boy, meticulous documentation is the foundation of all good research. There you have it. I'm finished here. Take it as a keepsake. I'll say, you're giving it to me? Sure I can have this, Will says. Yes, of course. I've committed it to the safety of my mind. I have no need for the sketch itself anymore. Tree of Prophecy drawing. I received Nueras' research picture. The drawing is intricately detailed and could accurately convey the full majesty of this place to a viewer who has never been there before. Hey, why don't we give that to Maria? I bet she'd love to see something from our journey, and we could tell her a story about this place. The next time we're in Grand Trad, I should give this drawing to Maria.
Huh?
Magical organism in the form of a tree. Say, aren't there fairies of the same classification? Precisely. Gallica is a most precious treasure as well. I've been observing her very closely, which has given me great insight into my own research into flame. What? You've been observing me this whole time? I don't recall you asking, so knock it off.
However,
turning our attention back to the tree, Hulkenberg says, I've heard that it tints itself blue to herald the arrival of favorable developments. I wonder what matter of anomaly its current color pretends. He took a brief detour, and I feel that seeing the rare sight has broadened my wisdom.
All right.
You get wisdom points every time you visit these sites too, which is nice because they're just free wisdom points.
The
So you can
Gauntlet
spend
Runner
time doing other
arrives in a
stats.
quiet clearing, concealed by boulders, as darkness reclaims the wilderness for itself. Monsters run rampant in the wilds. To sleep here would be perilous, unless from within the safety of a Gauntlet Runner. The party...
No, oops, I didn't realize Moore had more to say. Sorry. But he basically just said we came to the camp. So, here we are. We'll be in Martira the day after tomorrow. I wonder what the kind of place Martira is. So we go to the fire, there's something we can grab. There are insects gathered by the campfire. Oh, apparently you can eat these bugs. Well, according to Hulkenberg anyway. I should try to catch one. Cream catcher moth. I caught one of the bugs by the campfire. When it's my turn to cook, I'll use it as an ingredient. Alright, so... oh good, I'll talk to Stroll this time. We talked to Hulkenberg because she's not actually going to hang out with us today.
Speaking of,
Excellent timing. I've just heard something that caught me rather by surprise. After our cart to Grand Trad was beset by bandits and you were thrown out, you walked in the desert to reach the city. Such a vast, empty expanse. An easy land to get lost in, I'm sure. I'll say the cathedral guided me. Indeed. Well, it does clearly split the skyline, even from a distance. Well, in the event that you ever find yourself lost in the wilds, let me offer my own advice. Search for the first star. The star moves to the west in the evening and the east at night. Time and time again, it helps correct my path in my journey to find His Highness. Still, I must say I did not expect to return to life on the road. It'll be a long journey yet. Perhaps we'd better rest while we can. Alright, and now I'm going to talk to Stroll, who... Hey, you looking for something to do? My weapons are as sharp as they're going to get, but I'm not much. Care to keep me company for a while? By recalling the past and planning for the future with Stroll, I can increase my imagination. Should I spend time talking to him? I'll say yes.
Now then.
So, next up is Martira. I feel like yesterday, just yesterday when I first arrived in the royal capital, so much has happened in a short span of time. I met you, we went over the northern fortress and awakened our mysterious power. I'd once thought magic like this only existed in heroic tales of long times in the past. Speaking of, I've been thinking that perhaps this is the same power the hero kings once used. If that's the case, then why do you think so many of them met miserable ends? I'll say, power isn't everything, they had no allies, or they lost to a greater power. I'll say, power isn't everything.
What's that about it?
Power isn't everything.
Oh, I see.
As kings, they had to govern their people to maintain the peace. Martial might alone wouldn't help there. Perhaps it's not a matter of how much power you have, but how you choose to wield it. Moreover, we've got more than one power at our disposal, and on top of that, we've got allies who share these abilities as well.
Then...
if we continue to master these archetypes, then maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to surpass the great hero kings of old. Though all this does make me wonder just how many more of these powers are still out there. I felt my imagination grow as Stroll and I discussed the challenges still ahead.
All right.
And we get a little bit closer to reaching our point. We've almost gotten to level 2 for tolerance, level 2 for imagination. I'm gonna have to read more of the Eloquence book tomorrow. Come now, it's too early for bed. Let's talk some more. And they're sitting at the table just like he was with Hulkenberg the day before, and they're chatting over drinks.
Time marches on, and the age of a new king draws nearer.
And more, make sure we don't forget that time marches on, and the age of a new king draws nearer, because you never say that too many times. Oh, now we got a cutscene. We're running through the nature, and now we're like into like green.
Finally,
we see green.
We're out of the desert!
Trees, prairies and trees.
Oh wow, I missed all this green!
Our main character's looking. Stroll
Is it so bumpy?
is
That'd
sick.
be the change in terrain, lad.
See, you got to let the suspensions get used to hard ground instead of soft sand.
Must be nice to fly everywhere.
We hear explosions.
What the? Did we just crash?
Of course not. That's
We got
A
smoke.
cannonade.
Someone shot a cannon shot at us. And we've got 2 other Gauntlet runners that are near each other.
My star!
We've got
is
Glodell,
rising!
the guy the purple-haired dude with the leopard skin coat. He's in a purple Gauntlet runner. And we've got Gideaux, who's like Gordon's right-hand dude. He's a bald, Brusant monk warrior guy. And he's in like a white Gauntlet runner. And they're attacking each other.
Remember, from the opening ceremony, I think one of them is Gideaux, Fordon's confidant, and the other is Luis's man, Glodell.
Prominent candidates. Shouldn't the king's magic petrify them for their aggression?
No, see where they're aiming. They're not shooting to kill, just to take out the opposing runner's legs.
Doesn't seem like they're trying to land a fatal shot. Just aiming to break up the opposing side's Gauntlet runner.
stuck out in the wilds with no working runner. Whether they survive or not, they're dashed well out of the race.
Swords as a clash to halt each other's advance. Damned fools couldn't resist a show of force.
Look! Over by the legs. That crier is there too.
Patlin's there watching what's
Acting as
going
witness to
on.
the higher candidate's conflict. It seems Glodell cannot match Gideaux's firepower.
Our plan hinges on winning Luis's favor. Can we afford to abandon Glodell if he's one of Luis's supporters?
What's our plan? If we just hang back and watch, Gideaux's gonna win. And Bardon gets a leg up on the competition.
So let's help out Glodell.
Let's give Glodell a hand here. Good thinking. That way we could win Luis's regards.
Agreed. Let us ride to Glodell's aid.
I say, hold on. You realize you're a no-name candidate, eh? If he wants to shut you out, he'll not have to aim for just our legs.
It's a runner, isn't it? If things get too dicey, we'll just run. Didn't you say we had the fastest craft around?
Fine. Suppose there's no room for caution if we want the world's eyes on us.
Okay then, it's settled. Let's make sure he owes us big.
So we're watching them fight
There
from a
should be an
distance
external
here.
runner phone out there.
So
We're here to
Nueras is
help.
in the cockpit
Draw
talking
down.
to us. So Stroll's calling over like an intercom system.
Why do you stand for Luis's forces?
That's Gideaux.
Well, sorry, can't get into it now. That Gauntlet. You're that commoner candidate who destroyed the Grand Cathedral. Was that not enough? You would profane the sink for the second time.
Gideaux comes over to us.
So be it. In God's name, be thou punished.
Gideaux and his monks have boarded our deck. Looks like he knows magic won't shield us. He's aiming to kill us.
You dare interfere in my fight! Know your place! Is it fame you seek? You thought by confronting me, you might lift your own names? Then you chose the wrong opponent.
I hate to interrupt, old egg, but it's a touch more complex than that.
We of the Crown Theocracy's monk army have silenced all who would oppose the eminence of God. Your petty ruses are beneath me. Now you shall know how powerless you truly are.
Remember, the king's magic means we cannot move to strike Gideaux himself.
Go for his followers first. We'll thin their numbers and turn the tide.
Go, my brethren! Put the fear of God into these impious commoners!
So we've got Gideaux standing in the middle. He's got a staff. We can't actually attack them, so we want to use single target. His troops have bronze armor, white cloaks, and they've got like bronze, kind of like cone-shaped helmets.
Vitus power!
So we've got a monk and a spearman.
Scour! I shall vanquish evil.
Side.
I'll cut you down!
Is for all that we strive for! Freeze!
So come forth, royal sword! Resistance is futile!
What could you hope to
Gideaux
achieve?
puts on a cocky smirk. Power thrust from the spearman.
Take
Mage
this!
icicles from the mage. And he's just smirking, so he's not actually doing
He knows
No holding back!
he's toying with us.
Tougher than I thought.
It's too early to go to his side.
Oh, shards of ice!
Hulkenberg got them spot.
Win!
Go to his side.
I call upon royal power within! Hack and
out.
slash!
two guardsmen.
So, the faithful are broken before you, yet your desperate struggling is for naught. You cannot defy the inevitable. I am immune to all your wicked harms.
Oh, he gets to do whatever he wants, and we can't even get near him.
Bend the knee and yield to the divine truth of sanctism. Now, are you prepared for the end?
Ah, I think not, you rotter!
Nueras
What have
says
you
the
done
runner,
to
our
my
runner,
gauntlet runner?
kick over Gideaux's runner with one of our legs.
We've nothing to lose. At the very least, I can thrash your old clunker until it's inoperable.
This is a waste of my time. So be it. You'll face your divine punishment soon enough.
Phew. Finally, he took the hint.
So he
Hey!
walks off.
Get down here!
Glodell calls us down, and he's got a couple people with him. He's got his dog with him. Oh, and then we have
What are you playing at?
we have
You
a
think I owe you now or
blonde-haired
something?
lady with
I would have been fine without your meddling.
him. What are you playing at? You think? Okay. I'll say I wanted to help.
I just wanted to help you.
A likely story? Out with it. What's your motive?
Why, Glodell, surely you can spare some manners for a crew that saved our lives?
So this blonde-haired lady, she's got white gloves that go up to her wrists. She's got like a red dress that goes, a sleeveless red dress that just goes down to her thighs. She's got a white headband. Her hair goes basically almost down to her feet.
Honestly, that
She's
got a
got
bit
a
ugly
shoulder
for
pad
my
on one
liking.
shoulder, but not on the other.
Well,
And then she's got, like,
do my eyes deceive me?
Boots that go,
Junah,
and
the
she's got like high
songstress
boots
in
that
the
go up to
flesh.
near her thighs.
What brings you all the way out here? A little tryst on the road, is it?
And here's Batlin, and oh, it's Junah.
Nothing so saucy. I'm afraid this cad's just my chauffeur. Now please, darling, a little privacy, or I'll have to charge for an interview.
Fair enough, miss. Fair enough. Nothing you're not used to. Consider me chastened and shooed. Besides, I might have found another angle here that's just as promising.
He's looking at our protagonist, and he's got kind of a cocky expression on his face. He walks away.
You surprised me out there, love. You bested Gideaux.
So we've got our characters that are standing there, and Nueras has like got his hands together, all, you know, like he's barely containing his excitement.
So you're not just a pretty face. You were more help than my useless driver, at least.
Glodell looking down, not doing so good.
Look here. However talented and famed a songstress she may be, you must remember to contain yourselves.
She, you know, Hulkenberg clearly.
Songstress? Wait, is she the same Nidia lady who sang at the opening ceremony?
Aye, but that's... oh, blast it all, I can't take it anymore.
And Nueras runs at her, but he runs right past her.
I know the suspensions anywhere. You had Caden Workshop on this, eh? Yes, those are quality parts and no mistake. Luis really shells out for his own.
He's talking about the runner.
You can't be serious. She is Junah, the kingdom's greatest singer, the dulcet diva. Oh, this is preposterous. Surely I can't be the only one starstruck? Really?
Oh my god.
No one else wants to shake her hand? Well, then on behalf of this group, I suppose it falls to me.
Hulkenberg having her celebrity moment.
You're an interesting little ensemble.
Oh,
Wait,
God.
is that a fairy?
Ugh.
A real living one? Where did you...
Hey, up there!
And then all of a sudden, we see Luis's big airship flying overhead. And it lands, and it stops.
Airborne Gauntlet runner. He's actually finished it.
Luis lands his ship. And he comes out. And he's got two Parapus guys next to him.
Luis.
One's short and has like a button-up jacket. It's like black and white jacket and like a white sweater underneath. And he's got cat ears, purple hair. The other one's taller. He's got dog ears and long black hair. And like he's got like a black jacket and an ascot. And because of Stroll's face in the dialogue, I can't see the rest of his body. And then we got Luis standing in the middle with his airship, the Caradrius, in the background.
my Lord Luis. How kind to provide a personal escort.
So that's it. I thought it was strange that a candidate like Glodell got stuck playing someone's driver.
But she was still the Sanctists' pick for the opening ceremonies? Guess even Fordon's camp has to bend to popular opinion.
My humblest apologies, my Lord Luis, for this travesty, especially when you had graced me with the privilege of bearing the lovely Lady Junah.
Glad to see Lady Junah's safe, at least.
This is the short one. Said that he's got like golden eyes and his skin is like kind of purplish. And then the tall dude with the brown hair and the dog ears, he's got skin that's black, and he's got red eyes.
I could have crushed that churchman like a bug, and I would have if these insolent fools hadn't.
I'm sure. Sorry, don't much care.
It would seem you had to clean up my associate's mess. I'd like to express my gratitude, but if I might ask, who are you?
I'll say I'm a candidate.
I'm just another candidate.
Indeed. Then we are both striving for the throne. One would think you commoners, but for the Lady Knight at your side. And you have a Gauntlet runner. Most curious. What made you decide to enter the competition? Looks like he's more interested than we anticipated. This might be our chance, so choose your words wisely, okay?
No, I can say he's asking why I became a candidate. I should say to become king, to help save the prince, or to help you, Count Luis. I'll say to help you.
I want to help you, Count Luis.
Oh? You fight in my name, you?
Really now? So, you thought you'd step in for a little self-promotion?
We want to help anyone in need. That's what we believe in. Anyone. Most interesting. However, my immediate needs are met in terms of swordhands.
Oh, come now. Don't they have a certain charisma to them? Why? I dare say I saw them use magic without igniters.
Please, I know we can help you. We want nothing more than to see your vision realized, Lord Luis. You do know what that vision is built on, don't you? If you would claim yourself my ally, then prove your power before all the kingdom's eyes. You can't change the world without power, after all. If you can manage that, I'll consider your proposal.
Walks away with the two.
See you, loves.
With the two Parapus, and Junah waves and walks
Don't
off
think
as
this
well.
changes anything. Come on,
Gideaux
Hector!
walks off, but he's with his dog and he's, fuming.
It soars like a damn bird.
Right then, that could have gone worse. We were lucky we managed to connect with Luis this early.
No thanks to that Glodell. Even should we be accepted, he'll be no ally of ours.
Well, at the very least, Luis knows our faces. All we have to do now is avoid screwing it up.
He wants to see our power, does he? Then let's find Heisme, bring him to justice, and show the nation we're a force to be reckoned with.
As the chirping birds return to their nests and the darkness claims its dominion, the Gauntlet Runner at last arrives at its repose, a place grown thick with trees. The party never has to find out, for they are safe within the Gauntlet Runner.
Sorry. So if my finger slipped that it skipped over the dialogue. Or just basically is talking about in these clips,
Oh, damn it, blast!
Did you hear that?
It's over. The end of the road. So ends the life of the genius engineer.
Let's say we go check on him.
We're down in the engine room.
Hey! Nueras, you okay?
Oh, you two. Terribly sorry. It's nothing, really.
Oh, I'll say, I don't think it is.
It doesn't sound like nothing.
Ah, no hiding it from you, is there? No, it's just the old runner. She runs like a dream, you see, but I wanted to make her peerless. An absolute beauty, you know, top of her class. Something that would make even old Luis's runner look like a ballet apple cart. I'd not be floundering so much if I just had a bit of spark.
A spark?
Yes, my girl. A spark of inspiration. A moment of epiphany, like when I saw the lost relic.
Lost relic? Doesn't ring a bell.
Ah, yes, context. They say that long, long ago, there was a civilization so highly advanced it was beyond all modern understanding. Automation ruled the day. People lived surrounded by machinery with no need to work. Legend has it that they lived lives of convenience and comfort. But somehow, that civilization just up and disappeared. God only knows what happened to them.
Sounds kind of far-fetched already.
Hear me out, would you? The point is, once in a stretch, you hear about someone unearthing relics from those days of yore. Absolutely inscrutable to the layman, don't you know? But those in the know would recognize such a prize at a single glance.
So I'll say, have you seen one?
Have you ever seen one of these yourself?
Oh, yes. When I was but a young sproglet, there was this loony old inventor in my neighborhood, both quite brilliant and quite daffy, as they often are. That old fellow only showed me his find once, but even seeing it lit a fire in me, like being struck by lightning. After that, it was like a boiling pot. Ideas, ideas, ideas rising to the surface. And my tinkering always came out marvelous. Some proper court engineer-worthy genius. Something about it utterly captured my imagination. The lost relic, I mean.
Wow. You could try getting him to show you again.
If only I could. That old fellow went back to his own hometown. That single solitary glimpse of the past was all I had. The old goat. He told me he'd leave me the relic in his will.
Okay, so where's this guy's hometown?
Oh, some tiny hamlet somewhere on the outskirts of Martira. A village by the name of Camiro or some such.
Maybe I should look into Camiro when we get to Martira.
This one's important.
Let's start. Providing a spark. An old inventor Nueras knew is living in Camiro, a village near Martira. He may be able to tell us more about the relic once shown to Nueras. We left Nueras, who dissolved into doom and gloom again, and headed towards our narrow sleeping quarters in the Gauntlet Runner.
Time marches on, and the age of a new king draws nearer.
So we'll arrive at Martira this evening, then. Good. Soon we'll be liberated from this blasted shaking. Liberated? I do take offense to that. The fairy girls... Right, you know, a carriage could never keep up this pace. Some gratitude would be appreciated. Apologies, I am grateful. It's just hard to show it while on the verge of losing your lunch. That, and I pray we can avoid further hindrances like yesterday.
Isn't that...
Stroll's got motion sickness. Once we've arrived in town, we're supposed to meet with Bardon, right? I'm sure the sights will be distracting, but let's not keep the man waiting.
Departing the capital and barreling southward, the party's gauntlet runner at last arrives in the old castle town, Martira, where their client, Bardon, awaits. The towering castle's stark walls stare down coldly upon its visitors. The only question now is whether or not this gambit was the right move.
So we arrive at the castle town. The castle's on top of a, rocky hill.
'Tis far more desolate a place than I'd heard.
the town is kind of lower down the hill, and then there's like a gorge at the very bottom where we parked the Gauntlet runner.
Not many people out. It's like everyone's afraid of something.
We walk into town.
Ah,
we
you're
speak
here.
Bardon.
I've been hoping you'd show up soon.
I know it's been a while, but we pledged to help you. We'll not go back on our word.
Glad to hear it. I'm sure Lady Joanna will also be pleased. Oh, your pardon. Lady Joanna rules this city. She's also a most holy sanctoress of the Sanctus Church. She lives there, in Criganti Castle.
I take it the locals are hoping for His Eminence Forden to win the tournament.
Aye, naturally. No sane and righteous man would want Louis on the throne. Speaking of, I heard there was a scuffle on the road between two candidates Gauntlet runners. The criers say Fordon's ally suffered the worst of it.
Ah, well, that's Luis's camp for you. I assume it was them. I mean, some nasty characters at his heel, eh?
Say Luis is tyrant.
Luis is nothing but a tyrant.
Yes, such atrocities in his name. Unforgivable.
The characters are.
Are you sure we can
fluffy.
trust these strangers? These bounty boarders are always in it just for the money.
So, the Martira guards are wearing green outfits. They've got the Uchronia flag, but they've got their own local flag too, which looks like some kind of a tree. And they wear green and white. This guy's a Clamar. He's got like his hair's tied back into like a short little ponytail, it looks like. It's brown. And then he's got the Clamar horns, and they're pointing straight forward.
Looks like his officer's
got
not
a
on our side just
spear.
yet.
Dinna be rude, Morris. They've come a long way for our sakes. Now, I'm sure you must be knackered from the journey. Let me show you to it. You can try our local speciality, perhaps.
Ah, you've a local delicacy. It would be a welcome treat.
You chaps go on. The old girl needs a bit of maintenance after carrying us so far.
Can't that wait until you've eaten?
Too much at stake, lad. Go on, don't worry, and I'll sort her out. Might well fix the bally waterworks while I'm at it.
Come, everyone. This way.
So we're walking through, and this town is a lot more just like an old kind of dusty medieval city. You know, wooden buildings. Wooden and stone.
Is this some kind of smoked dish?
So they're inside the restaurant. It's like the main restaurant in Grand Tread, not the Hush Honey Bee. But it's smaller and more, you know.
Roasted larvae of the giant sandworm. It's Martira's culinary speciality.
So it's a roasted, so it's basically like a giant roasted worm dish. Sandworms are, you know, the sandworms are huge.
Cooked to a delicate finish, just enough to preserve all the natural juices and flavors of the innards.
Oh, good. Larval innards.
And
It's
Hulkenberg eats
unique
it.
texture, to be sure, but the taste is divine, exquisite.
You're completely serious, aren't you?
Something the matter? Do try some of your own before it gets cold.
So I'll say, looks great!
Looks great.
What is with that smile? Not you two.
So he tries the, like, larval stew thing. The rich flavors are bursting in my mouth. It's surprisingly tasty.
You fairly eat with gusto, young man. Passion worthy of a royal candidate. How was it? Sometimes the insides can twitch a bit, but it's harmless, I assure you.
The other characters are all nervous, and Hulkenberg is just
Would
keep
that I had
eating.
time to try more of your dishes, but to business. Can you fill us in on the details of all these kidnappings?
Aye. Our wee ones have been going missing for at least 6 months. All told, we're looking at 15 children now unaccounted for.
And you think this Heismay is your culprit?
I'm told he's a disgraced knight with nowhere else to turn. We've no proof, but the pieces fit. Seems to me that with nothing else to lose, he's gone rogue.
For a man who claimed a knight's honor to stoop to such horrors. 'Tis unacceptable. We must end this quickly, for our sake and his own.
If I recall the brief, it'll be quite a feat to even get near this Heisme. His hideout was in the midst of the sandworm's territory, yes?
Aye, well remembered. He certainly isn't going to make this easy for us.
So
Heisme's hideout is
way out here?
Is in a cave north of the city,
far from Martira.
But because of the way the crags and valleys are, we have to go south and then around and back north, so it'll require one campsite. And it looks like there's a pink Gauntlet runner in the way on our way to the camp. So we've got a rival Gauntlet runner. It says a major candidate's Gauntlet runner seems to be here. We've got one of these geographic sites, but we haven't seen it yet. We've got a campsite, and then Heisme, and then the giant sandworm's nest.
Now that you mention it, I have to wonder how we can even survive out there.
We've been chasing any lead we have, but we can't figure it all out. We're in over our heads.
So I'll say, let's save this town together. I can also say we'll get the job done, or just have our reward ready. So
Let's work together to save this town.
We're awful grateful to have you. And don't worry, we'll pay you what you're due. After all, nobody else in the royal capital would give it a second glance.
We help anyone in need. That's why we've come this far.
Inspiring words, young man. Now, I hope you're not full yet. We've a whole spread of other dishes for you.
It's like
now This is the pride of the town. A fine sweetmeat made from the juvenile sandworm's entrails. You'll find this tastes as sweet as any dessert. Together, I'm sure we can find a way to the stronghold without falling prey to those words. Now, please, dig in.
So Hulkenberg, of course, immediately starts eating, and
'Tis altogether different from the roast. Why, 'tis succulent as a mellow fruit. Another marvel.
You must have gotten used to eating anything you had to out in the wilds, eh?
I'll schedule a meeting with the Honorable Lady Joanna tomorrow. Please, rest your weary heads for today.
If they aren't here calling a free meal out of us, that is.
Now, let's go.
It's been a while.
It's been forever since I've had a spacious bed. We're gonna meet the lady of the town first thing in the morning, so let's get your beauty sleep, okay? So that'll be it for this video. I think the meeting with Lady Joanna is a good place to pick up for the next one, and then kind of we'll quest and everything like that. Thank you so much for joining us as always. We'll be back with more soon, and please like, subscribe, and comment, and our quest for the kingship will continue very shortly. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.